Purgatory. Purgatory is basically like a spiritual community service where you get to work off your sins and earn your way up to the big leagues. So you've just left the earthly planes, but instead of heading straight to the pearly gates or the fiery hot pits, you find yourself in a celestial waiting room. The idea of purgatory means that you are not entirely bad, but not entirely good either. So before you can access heaven, your soul needs a little spring cleaning. Maybe you told one too many dad jokes or cut in line at the grocery store one too many times. Instead of a slap on the wrist, you get sent to purgatory to think about what you've done. It's like being put in the corner of the universe, but with more existential dread. In purgatory, you are not quite in heaven, but you're not in hell either. It's the great in-between, like when you're waiting for your phone to update. It's not fun, but you know it's necessary. And just like those updates, purgatory is all about getting rid of those bugs, sins, in your system. Nothingness. Have you ever tried squeezing one of your eyes shut to know what it'd feel like? Well, you'll notice that after a little time, your brain will just forget that your eye is closed and the other eye will immediately start to take on both functions. This is because you don't see black when you close one eye, which is technically what you'd expect to see. Instead, your vision ceases to exist completely, meaning you see nothing. Everywhere is completely void. There is no darkness, no silence, and no consciousness. It's almost like you're in a deep sleep forever, but without the dreams, or the snoring. This means that being nothing after death is the ultimate version of a 404 not found error. Your brain would practically forget that you were even alive in the first place because every single memory, thought, experience, and feeling would be wiped away immediately after your heart stopped beating. Atheists mostly hold this particular theory, and it presents a horrifying or comforting conclusion that's totally dependent on your perspective. Some might find it scary, like being ghosted by the universe. Others might find it comforting, like finally getting that uninterrupted nap you've been craving since kindergarten. Cryonics. Think of cryonics as putting your life on ice. Literally. It's like when you freeze your leftovers, hoping they'll be just as tasty when you finally reheat them. Only in this case, you're the leftovers and the microwave is futuristic science. The whole idea behind this theory is that you can quite literally freeze your body after death with the hope that future technology will be able to cure whatever it was that put you on ice in the first place. It's like pressing the ultimate pause button on life. So instead of taking a bow after the last episode of the grand stage of your life, you are gently lowered into a giant freezer. Apparently, death is not the end, but it's just an extended commercial break, like some kind of sequel where you wake up after the extended nap in a sci-fi future. Only a select few have chosen cryonics so far, so it's like joining an exclusive club whose membership fee includes a very cold welcome. Reincarnation. This is basically the cosmic version of try, and try again, like the universe's ultimate do-over challenge. So let's imagine that life is a giant game of Monopoly, and each time you play, you might be a different token. Sometimes you're the top hat, the race car, or even the little dog. Now, in reincarnation, instead of tokens, you come back as a different person, animal, or even a plant. So if you don't become a big-time multimillionaire this time around, don't worry. According to this theory, you'll definitely get another shot. However, the downside is that you don't get to keep any memories or experiences from your previous life, so sadly, it is not an automatic cheat code for figuring your life out. You might be a rock star in one life, rocking out on stage, traveling from city to city on tours with girls screaming your name at the top of their lungs. In your next life, you might come back as a tortoise. So now you're taking it slow, living up to 150 years and contemplating the meaning of life, one blade of grass at a time. However, a big part of reincarnation is that you'll maintain some similarities with your previous life. So if you were a cat before, living the good life, lounging around and chasing laser pointers, you might come back as a human who loves naps, has an inexplicable fondness for sunbeams, and can't resist pouncing on shiny objects. A win is a win. Heaven and hell. If you grew up in a predominantly Christian family and went to church every Sunday, then you would be very familiar with the concept of heaven and hell, which is, without a doubt, the ultimate reward and punishment system according to the Christian faith. According to this theory, Christians who live a very good and spiritual life on earth are believed to ascend to heaven after dying, which is like the ultimate VIP club. There are no lines, no cover charge, and all the angels know your name. It's the kind of place where every day is a chill Saturday and the Wi-Fi is always strong. You've got endless buffets with all your favorite foods, calorie-free of course, and the cloud seating is more comfortable than your grandma's favorite armchair. Heaven is like winning the cosmic lottery and all your good deeds pay off. However, if you lived a sinful life on Earth and did not follow the teachings of God, you would be sent to hell after you die, which is the total opposite of what heaven is. Hell is basically like the universe's worst summer camp, which is always too hot. The mosquitoes are the size of pigeons and the air conditioning is perpetually broken. You'll be constantly tortured by Lucifer, who is not exactly the friendly motivational type, but more like the world's worst boss, always finding new ways to make you regret stealing that cookie in 3rd grade. Simulation theory. Simulation theory suggests that everything we experience, the good, the bad, the weird, is all part of a super advanced computer simulation. So if you've ever felt like your life is a sitcom with someone else controlling the remote, you might just be right. This theory believes that somewhere out there, super advanced beings are sitting at their hyper-advanced computers controlling everything. Think of them as cosmic gamers, sipping energy drinks and tweaking the code of our lives. People who believe in this are convinced that every action and thing is already programmed into the simulation and is controlled. If they experience déjà vu, that's probably just a glitch in the simulation. You know, like when your character in a video game walks into a wall repeatedly, or when NPCs start acting weird. Or those times when you can't find your keys and then they magically appear where you already looked 5 times. That's just the simulation lagging a bit. The programmers also put random things in place for us to find and keep the game interesting. And these events are what we call luck. It's like that time you saw a random $20 bill in an old coat pocket after you've been crying from hunger the whole day. We all start at level 1, aka birth, in this cosmic game, and as we go through life, we gain experience points, XP, by learning, growing, and overcoming challenges. Pay your bills on time? Plus 10 experience points. Learn a new skill? Plus 50 experience points. Not spilled your coffee on your white shirt for an entire day? Plus 100 experience points. And when you die, it's not game over. It's more like hitting the reset button and starting a new game with a different character. Transcendence. This is the ultimate cosmic promotion, and it's all about rising above the ordinary, leveling up from the mundane and merging with something greater. Transcendence is like upgrading from standard definition to ultra-high definition, where you become part of a higher reality or consciousness. It's like leaving behind your day job and becoming a rock star, but on a spiritual level. For instance, let's say you're a drop of water in the ocean. Now, before Transcendence, you're just chilling, minding your own business. But after you die and transcend, you merge with the entire ocean. You become one with the waves, the tides, and even those weird deep-sea fish with glowing antennas. When you transcend, you're not just you anymore. You're connected to everything and everyone. It's like joining the ultimate group chat where everyone's on the same wavelength and there's no spam. You're basically in the VIP section of the universe's biggest social network. Parallel universes. Have you ever met someone and felt an instant connection? Maybe you guys were best friends or lovers in another universe. Imagine you just finished your work in this universe, but instead of heading to heaven, hell, or purgatory, you get a cosmic reassignment to a brand new universe. It's like switching TV channels, but you get an entirely new show each time instead of reruns. Parallel universes mean there are infinite versions of you out there. One where you're a rock star, another where you're an astronaut, and maybe even one where you're a cat, because who wouldn't want 9 lives? It's the ultimate multiverse of madness, where every possible outcome of your life is happening somewhere. Every decision you've ever made is a sliding door to each version of its reality. In one universe, you took a job in New York. In another, you stayed in your hometown. Each choice creates a new path, so every what if you've ever had, there's a universe for that. After listening to all of these after-death experiences, it would be unfair if we didn't give you a theory that is bound to guarantee excitement and happiness while living, and that is to very simply join our Discord server. Nirvana. Nirvana, in many Eastern philosophies, is the ultimate goal. It's the release from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth and achieving a state of perfect peace and happiness. Think of it as the ultimate cosmic vacation where you can finally put your feet up. In Nirvana, you've made all the right stops and reached the ultimate destination on the Enlightenment Express. Achieving Nirvana is like finishing a never-ending marathon where you've been running through countless lives, accumulating good karma, and now you can finally relax. With this theory, you are basking in eternal peace and happiness, where there are no more worries, no more stress, just pure unadulterated peace. There's no reincarnation with Nirvana, so there's no coming back as a cockroach or a squirrel. You've graduated from the school of life with top honors. Ghosts and spirits. Everybody knows about haunted houses or possessed people, the lights in the bathroom blinking off and on when you're sure there's nobody in there, most likely a ghost. If somebody fills the grade bully's locker with wet tissues, most likely a ghost. In other words, ghosts are like guests who stick around after the lights are turned off and the music stops. They're the ones who just can't let go of the party and want to keep hanging out even if no one else is around. Ghosts are thought to be the spirits of people who have passed away but have unfinished business or strong emotional ties to the world. Maybe they still need to return a library book, or they're still trying to find their car keys. They might haunt a particular place like an old house or a creepy castle, appearing as shadowy figures, strange lights, or just the sound of footsteps when no one is there. Dream theory. When you're asleep, you get to explore the world of your subconscious, which might sound fancy, but it's just you dreaming. So if you believe this theory of death, that means you think of dying as a one-way passage to your eternity in dreamland. You've already experienced dreaming, so your death would simply be you never being able to wake up and just being stuck in the world of your subconscious. Death isn't a physical end to those who believe this, so there's no abrupt end to life. It's just a passage to a different dimension, just like how falling asleep and then dreaming while you're asleep would feel like. According to the people who believe this theory, you wouldn't even know you're dead when you die, so you wouldn't miss being alive because you'd just be in tune with the familiar reality of your dreams. To them, life is a dream and death is the true state of existence. And honestly, if you think about it long enough, it might actually begin to make a bit of sense to you. But you probably shouldn't. Replay. You've probably heard the saying that nothing is new under the sun. Well, according to some cultures, this saying is the absolute truth and even applies to every single death. They believe that everything that happens in the universe is in one infinite loop where all the events are destined to repeat itself in a never-ending cycle called the replay hypothesis or the eternal recurrence. It's like watching your favorite movie over and over again till you memorize what the character is going to say next and what they're going to do. They believe that there is nothing like free will, and we are all just repeating our lives over and over again. So when you die, you just come back in another body and repeat the same exact life experiences in a never-ending cycle. That's just mind-blowing, and of course, nobody alive can truly know the answer to these questions. Journey to the Underworld. So, after years of living a fulfilling, happy life, you've finally kicked the bucket. Well, according to ancient mythology, the next course of action is the Underworld, which is the realm ruled by the gods and goddesses of death. Think of it as the ultimate adventure vacation. If your idea of a vacation includes navigating rivers of the dead and avoiding eternally tormenting spirits, the first stop in the Underworld is the River Styx, which is basically like the Uber pool of the afterlife. You'll be taken across by a grumpy old ferryman, Charon, who only accepts coins, no Venmo. Once you've successfully crossed the river, you meet the three-headed dog called Cerberus, whose guide it is to guide you to the judgment room. And it is in this room that you'll be measured and weighed according to your deeds on Earth. If you're found worthy, you'll be sent to the Elysian Fields, the 5-star resort of the Underworld, all-inclusive with eternal sunshine and unlimited ambrosia cocktails. But if you've been a bit naughty, it's off to Tartarus. Think of it as the Underworld's version of a never-ending torture chamber that's hot and filled with anguish and screaming. Ancestral Spirit World. In African, Asian, Indigenous Australian, and Native American cultures, it is believed that there is a world where your ancestors reside and can relate with the world of the living after they have died. It's called the Ancestral Spirit World, and it is basically a realm where you transition to after death. Once you're there, you become an ancestor, but you're not completely cut off from the land of the living, so just like in Lion King, where Simba tries to get advice from Mufasa, or when Shuri thought she would see T'Challa for some tips on how to run Wakanda, your descendants who are still alive can try to contact you through rituals, offerings, and ceremonies. And because this is a realm of wisdom, guidance, and protection, you can actually provide the solution to why your descendants would need you in the first place. It's comforting to think that death isn't just an abrupt end then, but a transformation to a realm where your spirit can continue to boss your younger siblings or kids around. Moksha. Imagine you've been playing the same video game level for ages, and finally you unlock the ultimate cheat code. That cheat code? It's called Moksha. Instead of just leveling up, you're exiting the game entirely, breaking free from the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, samsara. It's like winning the cosmic lottery. To achieve moksha simply means that you've realized your true self and your personal oneness with the cosmos. You're finally free from all the worldly attachments and desires with no more responsibilities, expectations, taxes, or deadlines. In the ultimate spiritual liberation, you'd also get to hang out with all the spiritual heavyweights like Buddha and Krishna.